As the 2024 U.S. presidential election inches closer, the political landscape grows increasingly volatile. Once again, Donald Trump finds himself at the center of controversy, but this time the stakes are higher than ever. A recent report from the New York Times reveals that Trump's transition team has yet to sign crucial agreements with the General Services Administration, GSA, and other government agencies responsible for ensuring a smooth transition of power. By refusing to comply with these fundamental agreements, Trump is setting the stage for another chaotic post-election period, one that could undermine national security and the democratic process itself. The delays are not just administrative. There's a pattern to this madness, and it appears intentional. From stalling the peaceful transfer of power to obscuring his donor list and avoiding ethics compliance, Trump is laying the groundwork for a disaster. What is Donald Trump's endgame, and why is he so resistant to the norms that every other administration has followed? This video delves into Trump's calculated maneuvers, explores the potential consequences of his refusal to adhere to protocol, and sheds light on how his reliance on shadowy organizations like the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025 could lead to an unprecedented threat to American democracy. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to reaching 1,000 subscribers, but we can't do it without you. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe right now. And if you're already subscribed, give this video a thumbs up and leave a comment to let me know your thoughts. All right, let's dive right into it. Trump's transition games. What's at stake? One of the most telling signs of a leader's commitment to democracy is their willingness to ensure a peaceful transition of power, even in defeat. However, Donald Trump has proven time and again that he plays by his own rules. According to the New York Times, Trump's transition team, led by figures like Howard Lutnick and Linda McMahon, has not signed the required Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with the GSA. This agreement is crucial, as it allows an incoming administration to access resources, office space, and classified information, ensuring the new government is ready to take the reins on Inauguration Day. By delaying this process, Trump is not only jeopardizing national security, but also raising red flags about his intentions. Why the hesitation? Why would a presidential candidate refuse to begin the necessary preparations for governance? The answer might lie in Trump's apparent disdain for transparency and ethics. The Ethics Conundrum. A deliberate dodging? Refusing to sign the necessary agreements means that Trump and his team avoid committing to ethics codes required for transition officials. These ethics guidelines are designed to prevent conflicts of interest and ensure that individuals entering government positions are held to the highest standards of conduct. Yet, Trump has a long history of circumventing ethical scrutiny, and this latest maneuver is just another example. Michael Popuk, an attorney and commentator on Legal AF, speculates that Trump's refusal to engage with these agreements is tied to his desire to keep raising large sums of money from undisclosed donors. Once the MOU is signed, campaign finance rules become stricter, limiting donations to $5,000 per donor. Without the agreement, Trump can continue raking in millions from dark money sources, evading the transparency that the American public demands. This strategy reflects Trump's broader attitude toward the rules of governance. He views the presidency not as a public service, but as a personal business venture, one that he can exploit for financial gain, even at the cost of national security. Project 2025, a shadow government in the making? While Trump's delay in signing the MOU has captured headlines, the real story may lie in his reliance on outside organizations to staff his potential second administration. Trump's team has outsourced much of the transition planning to conservative think tanks like the Heritage Foundation and Project 2025. These groups have already compiled a database of 18,000 vetted individuals who could quickly fill key government positions, bypassing the traditional vetting process overseen by the GSA. Project 2025 is a long-term conservative initiative aimed at reshaping the federal government to reflect far-right ideals. With its focus on dismantling the so-called deep state, this project has been quietly building its influence in preparation for a possible Trump return to power. By relying on this pre-vetted database, Trump can install loyalists in key positions without the scrutiny that comes with a formal transition process. This outsourcing is alarming for several reasons. First, it removes the transparency and accountability that should accompany government appointments. Second, it suggests that Trump is more interested in staffing his administration with ideologues than with qualified professionals. Finally, it shows a complete disregard for the established procedures that ensure a smooth and secure transition of power. Chaos and vulnerability. The risks of a failed transition. The consequences of Trump's refusal to engage in a proper transition process are far-reaching. The peaceful transfer of power is a cornerstone of American democracy, ensuring that the country can continue to function smoothly, even in times of political upheaval. By delaying or refusing this process, Trump is creating a vacuum that could be exploited by foreign adversaries and domestic extremists alike. In his previous transition, Trump similarly delayed the process when Joe Biden was declared the winner of the 2020 election. For weeks, the Trump administration withheld access to office space, funding, and classified briefings, all of which are critical to a smooth transition. Emily Murphy, then the head of the GSA, refused to sign the MOU, citing baseless claims of election fraud. This 3-week delay hampered Biden's ability to prepare for the presidency, potentially putting national security at risk. Trump's current actions are a continuation of this pattern, but with even higher stakes. The world is watching as the U.S. grapples with complex international challenges, from ongoing conflicts in the Middle East to the rise of authoritarianism in Europe and Asia. Any delay in the transition of power weakens America's ability to respond to these threats and emboldens those who seek to undermine U.S. leadership on the global stage. Moreover, Trump's reliance on unvetted individuals from Project 2025 to fill key positions further exacerbates the risks. Without the proper vetting and oversight, the U.S. government could become vulnerable to corruption, mismanagement, and even infiltration by foreign agents. In short, Trump's refusal to follow the established transition protocols is not just a political maneuver. It's a national security threat. Trump's playbook: deception and disruption. Trump's refusal to sign the MOU is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader strategy of deception and disruption. Throughout his political career, Trump has shown a blatant disregard for the rules and norms that govern American democracy. From his refusal to release his tax returns to his attempts to overturn the results of the 2020 election, Trump has consistently put his personal interests ahead of the country's well-being. This latest stunt is no different. By delaying the transition process, Trump is once again putting his financial and political ambitions ahead of the national interest. He is using the delay to raise money from undisclosed donors, evade ethical scrutiny, and prepare a shadow government staffed by loyalists who share his disdain for democratic norms. But why does Trump behave this way? The answer lies in his authoritarian mindset. Trump views himself not as a servant of the people, but as a ruler who is above the law. He thrives on chaos because it allows him to consolidate power and evade accountability. In Trump's world, the rules don't apply to him, and anyone who challenges his authority is an enemy to be crushed. A fragile democracy. What's next? As we approach the 2024 election, the stakes have never been higher. Trump's refusal to sign key transition agreements is not just a bureaucratic delay. It's a threat to the very foundations of American democracy. By undermining the peaceful transfer of power, Trump is setting the stage for a potential constitutional crisis, one that could have lasting repercussions for the country. If Trump were to win the election, the damage could be even more severe. His reliance on Project 2025 and the Heritage Foundation to staff his administration suggests that he is preparing to govern in a way that bypasses traditional checks and balances. This could lead to the erosion of democratic institutions and the rise of a government that is more beholden to far-right ideologies than to the American people. On the other hand, if Trump loses, we could see a repeat of the post-2020 chaos, with Trump and his allies once again refusing to concede and undermining the legitimacy of the election. In either scenario, the future of American democracy is at risk. Donald Trump's refusal to sign key transition agreements is a disaster in the making. By delaying the peaceful transfer of power, Trump is not only jeopardizing national security, but also threatening the very foundations of American democracy. His reliance on dark money, his refusal to adhere to ethics guidelines, and his outsourcing of key government positions to organizations like Project 2025 all point to a leader who is more interested in consolidating power than in serving the American people. As voters head to the polls in 2024, they must consider the long-term consequences of Trump's actions. A second Trump administration could lead to the erosion of democratic institutions, the rise of authoritarianism, and a government that is more interested in self-enrichment than in public service. In this critical moment, the future of American democracy hangs in the balance. The only way to prevent the disaster that Trump is orchestrating is to hold him accountable at the ballot box.